Hey everyone, Mike here today with some thoughts here on Command & Conquer 4 Tiberian Twilight. Now, I remember this game being pretty bad back in the day when it came out. I have pretty bad memories of it, honestly. It does not inspire much confidence, and having played through the first two campaign missions, yeah, I'm not crazy about it. So we'll go through the third one here. I'll give you guys an idea of what the FMVs look like. And then we'll go through some of the gameplay stuff.
God, what happened?
But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff about this. It has similar vibes to Command & Conquer 3, where it just feels very uninspired. You know, they try and make it really more serious story-wise and add some weight in, and you know, try to make it a bit of a personal story in this case. But honestly, it does not achieve that in many ways. So yeah, it's just not a great game overall. You know, they've done a lot of changes to the gameplay as well, which stray really far from what original Command & Conquer normally was. You know, even people who have come in with some of the newer games like Generals, which also shifted some of the mechanics and whatnot. Even people have played those games, and that's what their perspective is. Even this is a drastic change in direction. So, you know, this is the third mission. We'll kind of go through a little bit of it, but ultimately, the summary for this video is that yeah, it's still a bad game. I still really don't like playing it. It's very boring and uninspired. It doesn't look particularly good. It doesn't play particularly well. This one also had 30 frame second cap, which just makes it feel awful. The core mechanic gameplay changes as well. Your base is super mobile, so you know, you're not gonna sit around and build your base and do all that kind of stuff. Instead, it was a little bit more, you know, zone capturing kind of idea, and your base was mobile, so you didn't really have to deal with the base side of things. It's very strange, mechanic-wise, and I'm not against them trying different ideas, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know, it's so strange to go down that route. Yeah, so we'll use our abilities, get that out of the way. Now we're still in early missions, so we're still going to get some tutorials and stuff here. And we'll get a couple repair dudes. So, I mean, they do a couple kind of nice and smart things, right? Here's, hey, you're going to build these units, you know. This unit does a certain task. They get you to use said unit for said task, and then after that, they'll lift the cap, right? So we're capped at 9 command points in terms of population.
Good job, Commander.
Eventually, they'll maybe want us to build another unit, and we'll discover a new mechanic and whatnot, and so they'll increase the cap. And so that's kind of how the first mission was. It was like, hey, here's your 30 basic, you know, ground vehicles, and then here's your 2 or 3 basic, I guess it was, might have been 4 basic infantry, actually. Alright, so, you know, here's your 4 different kinds of infantry, and they kind of let you mix it out a little bit, and then in this mission it's like, well, now you're playing as a support, so here's how you play as a support kind of build, I guess.
Commander, we're uploading a new support power.
So,
Firehawk airstrike.
I don't know, it's neat, I guess, but
let's give the Colonel's forces a hand.
I don't know. It's very strange, I guess is the best way to put it.
Come on, Commander, we don't have all day.
So,
get your troops in line.
Yeah, I don't know. So, some of the issues I've talked about with Command & Conquer 3 are kind of similar here, you know. Not a whole lot of color. This is less brown than Command & Conquer 3 was. So that's at least pretty nice. But the lack of like base building, for instance, is really strange. you know, being used to seeing base building in other Command & Conquer games, and you arrive to this and it's just like, oh, there's like none of those mechanics anymore. That's strange. You know, why would they do that? just watching those planes move actually was like, oh, that's weird. Or these guys are just gonna... Okay, they're just gonna kind of do their thing. Alright, fair enough.
Where's all the commotion? Under a lot of stress over here. Fine by me. Understood, sir.
What you gonna do?
Can't be done.
Try and kill my dudes? Not if my dudes can deal with them. So yeah, that's this game in a nutshell, really. It's just... It's not great. It's got some ideas, I guess, but it strays so far from what the original Command & Conquer formula was that it's tough for me to say anything positive about it, just because, yeah, it's not particularly interesting. I don't find it plays particularly well. You know, the frame rate limit just seems a bizarre choice. The lack of actual, like, base building as well just seems strange. The random freezing like that is because it's trying to load stuff, which, yeah, I don't get why it has to spend so much time loading, really.
Colonel James has granted you access to build the Orca, a flying unit
Because
capable of
ultimately,
attacking both
like,
air and ground
this
targets.
game was
He
designed
should help
at a
you
time
with
where
relating Nod forces in the air.
hard drives were commonplace, right? And so the idea that this game is designed around the idea of needing to needing to load in an era where every game used to run on hard drives just seems really odd. I don't know why that's the case,
We can sit up there.
but it is. And it just seems bizarre.
Orca lifting off. Orca lifting
Where's all
off.
the commotion?
Orca lifting off.
So yeah, because I queued up units, they deploy instantly. Which I guess is kind of cool, I suppose, but...
Orca pilot.
Yeah, oh man,
How's it
this
looking
is
out
real
there?
quick.
Orca pilot.
Commander, the Nod avatar you just destroyed left behind a husk. Your engineer can capture it. You've now been granted access to train engineers.
Right, I can build an engineer. Capture an enemy unit.
I'm listening.
And we'll get those things there.
Here in the field.
Objective
Then we'll
complete.
get an engineer dude. Take over that. And then...
New objective
I guess we'll
received.
keep the point because we already get that.
Central
Redeploy. We gotta load up another video.
Now that the area is clear, you'll need to reinforce it again. First, you need to redeploy a defense crawler to help construct defensive buildings around the research facility. To the south is an uplink tower. Once you capture it, scrap your current crawler and redeploy a defense crawler.
Okay,
We've
I'll
captured
have
the
to
building.
scrap this crawler to do it. That's fine.
Steady.
But yeah, it's a weird one. That's probably the best way I can put it. It's just a strange game overall. You know, this
Central command.
shift to this kind of
Crawler moving.
more mobile bases, less about static defenses, and trying to speed up multiplayer matches, presumably. It's not a bad strategy, it's not necessarily a bad way to go about it, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's just like, well, I get wanting to do changes, but you could have done that in a different way, which
Unnecessary
would have
course.
completely alienated people who've played these
Excellent
games over the
sight.
years. But yet they decided to not do that. And so you wind up with this game that just
We've captured the building.
it is definitely strange.
Together in arms.
If
Right,
it
so we
must
want
be
to
done.
decommission, and then we'll redeploy a defensive one, so that'll get us to build different kind of units. That is supposed to support units. Just gotta wait. We'll build a defensive one, and yeah.
Crawler channels open.
Advanced electronic video agent online.
I gotta load again for video. I don't
Now
get
with your
why.
defense crawler, move to the
It lags
designated
that bad.
locations and construct a bunker at each
So
point.
yes, it's on a hard
New
drive.
objective received.
Like, to be fair, our drives are slower. That's a fact. However, the problem with that is that this
Construction is
this hard drive it's on is actually on 8 hard drives in a RAID 10 array. So, you know, this RAID 10 array is breaking 500 plus megaseconds. So it's not a slow array either.
I'm listening.
Orca fired up.
So yeah,
Prepare to engage.
you know, it is what it is. It's also an old game, so I can't blame it too much for being architected kind of weirdly. Because again, a lot
Set course.
of older games tend to be a little strange. Oh, was I supposed to build a second
Monitoring
one?
Eva systems.
Gee, I didn't do that.
A structure is ready. Objective complete.
And the slag again. Yes, I could move it to the SSD and that would alleviate some of this.
Thank you, Commander.
But at the same
GDI
time,
Council appreciates your efforts.
I could
A
also
unit is under attack.
just play a better game. I'll also point out the music as well doesn't quite fit, especially compared to older Command & Conquer games. I don't know if it's Frank Klepacki that made the music for this one. Maybe. Like, he's done absolutely amazing work for all the previous games, so that's why I'm unsure if it's actually him, because it's such a different style of music, or someone else might have pushed him down this route to do something different. But anyways, that's the game overall. There's not a whole lot to it. It's not a particularly exciting and fun game, and yeah, multiplayer is no better, which is pretty telling because, well, there's next to nobody on this game anyways. So yeah, we'll end it there. This is much longer than I expected it to be, and that's okay because, well, you get to see more of this game, which is not good. Anyways, I don't know what I'll be doing next, so check back next week and I guess you'll know then.